What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stochastic here in the Odd Chopper channel, coming to you with the first crossover edition of NBA and NFL Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell goes a long way for me on this video, goes a long way for you. That way you become a prize whenever great content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. Ended up being down just a little bit overall when you take into account the premium Discord and NBA Lindy's Live, which was fantastic overall. We ended up on a half unit there for that random point guard there. Seraph, starting there for Brooklyn, his assist rate through the moon there from the preseason, over 33%. Brought that up, did everything live here on this stream, and that was very, very fun. The NBA Lindy's video sucked. I was awful. Over 4, got reverse swept over the course of those 4 bets. 1 quarter, 3 half unit, just bad stuff. Bad stuff. So overall, that video not good. NBA Lindy's Live, fantastic for the debut maiden voyage of that one. So let's just find a middle ground and just win all the bets on all the videos and all the things, right? Premium Discord had a couple of other ones that were goodies that were thrown in there specifically for them. And overall, yeah, ends up being down just a little bit for the day. So not what I was looking for the second NBA slate, but overall up a little bit after 2-0 there on Tuesday. Wednesday just had a lot more in play between portfolio EV, between tails, between everything over at Odd Chopper. So let's get ourselves to the grindstone, or put our nose to the grindstone. Always a weird thing to say. Never quite understood that one. But my Minnesota Vikings are playing on Thursday. I'm back home going to watch it with all my family. Thursday is going to be ruined, isn't it? Not if one guy plays well. We'll talk about him here in a second. But, of course, we still got this rocking. Promo code LindyNBA. Feel very good about the NBA analysis, even though the results not what I was looking for after a really nice start on Tuesday. Wednesday ends up being down on the video. NBA Lindy's Live was fantastic. All their plays in there, fantastic. But I want everybody to win on every single thing that I do here. And that's kind of the goal. In the Discord, you get all of it. You can make your assessments your own, and obviously down a little bit over a half unit for the course of the day here in the NBA streets. But that's neither here nor there. What is here is an amazing deal that I think over any long-term sample size, you're going to be happy. Plus, we got the World Series starting on Friday. I don't even know how I'm going to do Friday with the World Series, with NBA a bajillion game slate, and NFL Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. But you know what? I love you guys. I'm going to be putting in that work like I always do, even though I'm back home here. I get to, have a really cool deal here for my high school athletic Hall of Fame. That seems pretty fun. Standing in the Hall of Fame. I apologize. I'm not a singer. I'm working late. I'm not a singer. Let's get to the play, shall we? Alrighty, y'all. 2 NBA games. I should move this microphone right out of my mouth hole. Mic to mouth, not mouth to mic. Let that be known. Oklahoma City, -7.5, taking on Indy. And this one, friends, is fascinating because we just saw Oklahoma City play a bajillion dudes and get hurt all the way. I mean, what in the world? We got Alex Caruso now. He's going to be out with that injury. Isaiah Joe out with the left knee contusion. Yeah, so Alex Caruso gets concussed. Kenrich Williams is out for a long time. Topic out for a long time. Jalen Williams, that right wrist is still not good to go. He's at least another week away. Oklahoma City's thinner than you would expect, but we saw an unbelievable performance in very, very limited minutes for A.J. Mitchell, who, well, his points props aren't going to be touchable more than likely, but Indy, this is going to be a more up and pace spot than what you had in the Houston side of things, although Houston, that game just went nuclear as overtime after overtime after overtime, and Alperen Şengün going completely berserk, and Kevin Durant didn't even hit his fantasy score on Underdog. What are we doing here? But whatever. We got Oklahoma City. They're probably a little tired with just one day off in between, but they're taking on Indy, a rematch of last year's NBA Finals Game 7, and obviously on the Indy side, this will be their maiden voyage on this season. I expect Nembhard, Mathurin, Nesmith, Pascal Siakam, and Isaiah Jackson, I think, is pretty live to start here. You do have Tony Bradley, who's somebody who can come in, and Obi Toppin, I think they really like in that off-the-bench role. I think Obi Toppin props are at least interesting from the perspective of you might see more minutes of Obi Toppin than you're expecting in your lifetime. But Isaiah Jackson, whoa, he is for real. And he's back in our lives after an awful injury last year. But I am pretty darn excited to watch this one. I am not very excited to bet that I do think Indy, just because of some. Why did it go away? Indy plus 7.5 is definitely the lean here, but it is specifically a lean. And just a reminder to the people, lean, not a play yet. Red light, like quarter unit to close to the full unit, and then 1+ units there for a lock. I'm going to bet a lot of things over the course of a year and from these videos. So let's follow the template, shall we? All right, cool. Great, Grant. No yelling on the bus. Notice how I can't yell because I love my wife. Alrighty, y'all. Let's go over to Denver plus 2.5. Do you let me to? No, she doesn't. Okay, she's mad. Golden State. There we go. The Golden State Warriors taking on the Denver Nuggets, and I feel really good. Okay, I'm done with that. I love you. The Denver Nuggets taking on the Golden State Warriors here, plus 2.5 here on the Denver side. And I got to tell you, there is one thing that I'm very curious after watching that Lakers Golden State game. Does anybody else feel some struggles for rebounding coming Golden State's way sooner rather than later? Like Jonathan Kuminga, surprise start. Nobody was really seeing that one with Al Horford being acquired, but they kind of like him in that role particularly. Do you like him in that role when you're playing Denver? Part of me wants to blast Al Horford props knowing that he probably has like above a 40% chance to start. This is Steve Kerr that we're still talking about. It's just that I don't know how Al Horford's going to work in terms of cohesion, scoring, rebounding, assisting on this Golden State team. He's there because he's been in the league for 18 years. 18 years, and on the 18th birthday, you found out it wasn't his, but we've got an opportunity, I think, to bet some Denver props. Two really come to mind from the rebounding department. One, Aaron Gordon, 4.5. I guess Christian Brown a little bit, but more so Aaron Gordon. I think he's got to step into that role because Michael Porter Jr., north of a 13% total rebound rate last year, that was the second best on the Denver Nuggets, and they struggled rebounding the ball. There were a lot of times I was firing Christian Brown props, especially with Aaron Gordon out, especially with MPJ dinged up and also playing like a ding-dong. So I am very much behind the opportunity to potentially go there, but that's not what I bet. That's not what I drove to Iowa. 5 minutes yonder way. I'm acting like it's literally a cornfield away from me, but I'm very much here for the Nikola Jokic over 11.5 rebounds. This guy, north of a 16, you just look at the baseline, north of 16 rebounds per 100 possessions last year. You equate that to like 36 minutes. Every team's playing over 100 possessions outside of like Orlando, but then we saw Orlando and Miami have a track meet today, so I don't know what to believe anymore, Basil, but Nikola Jokic, he's the best player in the NBA. He's going to be on the floor a lot because Denver needs him to be on the floor a lot to be competitive, and, well, he's the best player in basketball, so why wouldn't you play him a lot? Other than, you don't want him to get hurt and the long NBA season, but 11.5 rebounds is plus 110 here. And I just fired this to the premium Discord almost immediately and a little while ago, but Nikola Jokic, 11.5 rebounds here in this spot. The three best rebounders last season for Golden State: Trace Jackson Davis, DNP-CD in the first game. Gui Santos played all of 3 minutes. And of course, Kevon Looney, who now is a New Orleans Pelican. So I think there's going to be rebounding problems in certain matchups for Golden State if they choose not to start Al Horford, if they choose to do certain things egregious. And, well, nobody's going to match up with Jokic, and that's going to be something we probably say for, I don't know, every team in the NBA this season. Sound great? Yeah, but that's definitely a prop you want to put in your pipe and smoke it. Speaking of, not speaking of, check out this. You got Be Like Lindy join Tails today. First off, check out the Tails app over in the App Store and Google Play. Really good stuff. Really, really good stuff. I think you're going to like what you see. Lots of great experts in there, including myself, yours truly, keeping themselves accountable. Again, not very happy with my NBA Lindy's results, but my NBA Lindy's live results, happy with that. Happy with the added plays in Discord. I feel some good things coming our way, friends. Something good this way comes. Be Like Lindy join Tails today. I think you'll like what you find. Also, if you could give us a rating on the App Store, that would be very helpful as well. Alrighty, I am getting this look like you better wrap this up. All right, cool. Minnesota plus 3.5 taking on the Chargers, and I'm very excited for this football game, not just because I'm a Viking fan, but I like Justin Herbert a lot. I do like the Chargers a lot. I just really need this football game for my sanity for my personal team. But the same things, friends, the same things that got us to prominence, Kevin O'Connell play calling, what happened against Philly? Because we just abandoned the run. I was pretty high on Jordan Mason in that game. He was more than 3/4 of the way there with less than 10 minutes left in the third quarter. And we just abandoned the run because we went down 2 scores. And some teams just hit eject. And you played to the score. I totally understand. And there were some unbelievable throws. Jalen Hurts had a perfect passer rating against Minnesota. And if you go back and watch that game, which I did because I hate myself, you will see some unbelievable sideline throws that I don't even think were that bad, like that poorly defended by Minnesota. And so as I start to try to assess the data side of this, as I start to assess who could potentially break out, the Chargers side, there are 2 very clear answers. Keenan Allen and Ladd McConkey. I do not think this is a Quentin Johnston game for what it's worth. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of touts and people over on X that disagree and say, oh, he's become Justin Herbert's favorite receiver. Slot receivers, Devonta Smith type receivers, and A.J. Brown, he can do everything. A.J. Brown is a lot better at the wide receiver position, in my opinion, than Quentin Johnston, even though we've seen some electric plays from Johnston that I don't think anybody was giving him credit for earlier on in the season because, well, they didn't think they had that dog in him. But Keenan Allen out of the slot. Ladd McConkey, when he is in the slot, takes over some of that. He can play outside too. I think they're the ones who really have an eruption spot. I also want you to be a little bit careful. We saw an unbelievable performance from Gadsden, the tight end here for the Chargers. He is playing way more than Disley. And Conklin's like a special teamers now at this point in time. So pay attention to that, but don't really chase waterfalls. Stick to the rivers and the lakes you're used to. And for me, that is Justin Herbert, the reliable target of Keenan Allen, who just smashed again last week, and the opportunity to potentially see the Ladd McConkey breakout spot because I think they're going to be able to utilize him in some spots where he can be successful against this Vikings secondary. Cool? Great, grand. Jordan Mason has to get the football. Look at these numbers that we've got here from the Chargers. It's not like they're playing world beaters. Weeks 1 and 2, they held Kansas City, not really a running game, 98 yards. 68 yards against Vegas was very, very useful. 20-9, that defense was phenomenal, but they lost Khalil Mack in that one. They also had Bosa go down, and well, the defense since then, and they got Mack back for what it's worth, the return of the Mack. That was actually a smart one. 5 weeks we've seen the Chargers fire up some rushing numbers. Teams have fired up rushing numbers against them. 118 allowed to Denver. 161 allowed to the Giants. And obviously Jackson Dart has mobility, so you're putting quarterbacks into that sample. That's a whole nother conversation. 163 from Washington, another rushing quarterback. It's not like Carson Wentz is out there. He's got an 11.5 rushing prop, so those are probably a little bit of outliers. But Miami and their dysfunction put up 27 points, and Devon Achane went berserk, 137 rushing yards in week 6. In week 7, we saw Jonathan Taylor have 3 tutties and just dance around and have himself a fine damn day. 120 total rushing yards in that one. Guys, Jordan Mason should eat here. And I get it. Aaron Jones is potentially coming off of IL tomorrow. If he does, great, grand. No yelling on the bus. I've done that twice now. But you've got an opportunity for Aaron Jones to play in the passing game, to play third downs, to do things of that nature, a lot of passing downs. You're not going to give Aaron Jones volume rushing work at this stage in his career with that hamstring in these current circumstances on a 3-3 Vikings team. That's just not in the game plan. That's not what we're looking at. And 55.5 rushing yards was available at BetMGM. In fact, a lot of other books did not have this available. So I'm going to explain some things. One, I also bet a quarter unit on Jordan Mason tutty plus 130. I think it's worth it. Just in the event that Aaron Jones does not get activated. He practiced in a limited capacity on Tuesday and Wednesday, and that is what it is. But Jordan Mason, if Aaron Jones is in, this number is going to come down, and you're going to get the better number than me. And I'm okay with that. I'll live with it. It's my cross to bear. But in the event that Aaron Jones doesn't play, this is going to have more closing line value than we had last week, where we had 7-8 yards of closing line value. Well, this time, we're going to get more than that. So Jordan Mason would be 65, 66.5 at least, I think. knowing that you would not have Aaron Jones out there, which is, I think, closer to a coin flip than is currently being represented in the marketplace. I will throw this out there. NBA Lindy's Live was so much fun. We're going to do it again next Monday. I'm going to be getting myself out of my hometown, traveling over the weekend, and obviously I'll still have all my bets. I'm still going to be betting, and I'm going to be in the Denver airport on purpose for 4 hours, firing up everything before back to the home base. But lots of opportunities for us to potentially make a lot of money together over in the streets, and those streets specifically being the NBA ones. I can't tell you how honed in the process is between Stochastic on the fantasy side and some of the advanced stat pages and some of the spreadsheets that I've got going over there, and what I can help you do alongside Portfolio EV, alongside all of the other bets that I'm firing on a week in, week out basis. It's going to be an awesome NBA season. I believe it to be the sport that I can analyze the best for you on a day in, day out basis. I think it's my best sport personally, even though MLB, I know, has had the best results for 3 years running now. And well, that just kind of is what it is. And well, I don't know if you heard, the World Series is going down. Shohei Ohtani doesn't have a lot of lefties to be facing out of Toronto, and they definitely don't want to throw Little out there after his apocalypse. Oh yeah, we're talking NBA. Lindy NBA, check it out, $19.95 for the month, $30 off. Just over 50 cents a day. That's a pretty good deal. But that does it for another edition of NBA and NFL Well, let's go get some good information in this. Let me know if you checked out NBA Lindy's Live, because again, I know what the results are. It was not pretty in NBA Lindy's, and I will never run from that. But after a 2-0 day on Tuesday, 0-4 in that video there, 3-1 on Lindy's NBA Lindy's Live. I'm confusing myself. I should probably go to bed. It is infinity o'clock, but you know what? There ain't no rest for the wicked. And I'm not wicked. I love you. Until next time, friends, I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the NBA and NFL streets on Thursday. I love my Vikings, and I love my wife.